Hey, what's up guys, it's DarkArmedDuelist and I'm going to be doing a Warrock deck profile. So I'm really excited to do this for you guys because this deck was actually suggested to me by one of my patrons, Izzy. And this deck is an extremely fun deck to be able to play to summon out your Warrock monsters and OTK your opponent, especially with all the spicy tech cards I've included in this build for you guys. So without further ado guys, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell in there so you can come part of our notification squad, and definitely check out the Patreon down in the description below for all those awesome rewards. Like getting your name description in every single video, getting assigned cards in the mail, and even getting to request a deck profile every single month to your Patreon. And definitely give Izzy some love down in the comments down below for suggesting such an awesome deck. So let's get straight on into this one, guys. So first off, we're going to be playing 2 copies of Warrock Bash. This card is an amazing boss monster to be able to play in this deck. This card has an awesome ability that during a battle phase in which your Earth Warrior monster battles, quick effect, you can activate this effect that this card can attack directly this turn. Also, all Warrock monsters that you control gain 200 attack points until the end of the opponent's turn, which is a really cool ability for this card to have to be able to attack directly and usually go in for game, while also boosting your Warrock monster's attacks, which the majority of our Warrock monsters have an ability that boosts our other Warrock monsters and themselves up by 200 attack points, which is a really cool ability for them to have to make them even bigger to OTK your opponent. And this card also has the ability, while this card is in your hand or graveyard, when your Earth Warrior monster battles and is destroyed by battle, you can special summon this card but banish it when it leaves the field, which is a really cool ability just to instantly get this card on the field. We then play a single copy of Warrock Meteoragon. This card is a great one-of in the deck, and I have bumped this card down from 2 to 1 in this build because it's so easy to get to in this deck. But it has a great ability that cannot be destroyed by an opponent's card effect. And when an attack is declared involving this card and an opponent's monster, you can negate that opponent's monster's effect this turn, and also as well as any cards that's activated that has the same original name, which is a really cool ability to negate all those different card effects, and it's really awesome in this particular build. It also has the ability once per turn during a battle phase in which your Earth Warrior monster battles, quick effect, you can make all Warrock monsters that you currently control gain 200 attack points into the end of the turn, and this card can attack 2 monsters during this battle phase, which is a great effect for this card to have to help you OTK your opponent. We then play just a single copy of Skylar. Skylar is really good because this card helps you bring back your low-level Warrocks to your side of the field, which is a great ability. This card also has the effect that it gains 100 attack points for each monster that your opponent controls, which is a great effect for this card to have. We then play a single copy of Warrock Mamud. Mamud is great in this deck as one of, because if you control no monsters or all monsters you control are warrior monsters, you can normal summon this card without tributing. And if your Earth Warrior monster battles after damage calculation, you can actually target a spell or trap your opponent controls and actually pop that card, and then have the ability to gain a 200 attack points for all your different Warrock monsters, which is a great ability to boost all your Warrock monsters by 200 attack points. We then play 3 copies of Fortia. Fortia is really good as a 3-of in the deck because this card has an awesome ability that if your Earth Warrior monster battles after damage calculation, you can add a Warrock card from your deck to your hand, which is a great effect to instantly get to your copy of Warrock Mountain, which is such a powerful field spell. It also has the ability, if this card is sent from the monster zone to the graveyard by an opponent's card effect, you can actually special summon a level 5 or higher Warrock monster from your hand or deck, which is a great ability to bring out any of our really big monsters to our side of the field. We then play 3 copies of Gaktos. Gaktos is really good as an extender in this deck because it has a great ability. If an Earth Warrior monster is normal summoned to your field, you can special summon this card from your hand to just extend your plays. This card combo is great with your copy of Fortia to be able to open up both of these cards in your hand to make rank 4 plays. We then play a single copy of Winto. Winto actually boosts up your Warrock monster's attack points, which is a great ability for this card to have, because if your Earth Warrior monster battles an opponent's monster during damage calculation, quick effect, you can pay 800 life points and your battling monster gains 800 attack until the end of this turn, which is a great effect for this card to have. We then play 2 copies of Rookie Warrior Lady. Rookie Warrior Lady is a great hand trap to be able to play in this deck, because when an attack is declared involving your other warrior monster and an opponent's face-up monster, you can send this card from your hand or field to the graveyard, and that opponent's monster loses attack equal to its original attack until the end of this turn, and if your opponent's monster is not getting a boost by anything, it'll reduce it down to 0, which is a great effect for this card to have. You can also banish this card from the graveyard and then target one earth monster in your grave and add it back to your hand so you can recover your War Rock cards. We then play 3 copies of Gameciel. Gameciel is an amazing 3-of in the deck to basically just hand this card to your opponent over a really powerful monster to give you a safe target to attack into with your War Rock cards. This card also gets over towers-like monsters, which is really good in this particular build, especially since this is a going second build. This card is great in the deck as a 3-of because you can just hand your opponent a turtle over any of the really big cards. So, that's it for the monsters, guys. Let's get in to the spells. So for the spells, we're going to start with a single copy of Terraforming. Terraforming is a really good 1-of in the deck to be able to get to your copy of War Rock Mountain. We then play a single copy of Rhoda. Rhoda is really good in this deck as a 1-of because all of our War Rock monsters are warriors, so this can search out a bunch of different cards out of the deck. We then play a single copy of War Rock Spirit. This card is a good 1-of in the deck because during the battle phase, you can target a War Rock monster in your graveyard to activate one of these effects, to special summon that target in attack position, but for the rest of the turn, its effects are negated, and also it cannot attack directly, which is the usual effect that we use with this card to instantly get a War Rock monster back on our side of the field so we can swing through a monster. We then play a single copy of Harpy's Feather Duster. Harpy's Feather Duster is great in this deck just to deal with your opponent's back row. We then play 2 copies of Lightning Storm. Lightning Storm is also amazing in this deck because as long as you don't have a face-up card on the field, you can either destroy all your opponent's attack position monsters or deal with your opponent's back row, giving us 3 ways in this build to deal with our opponent's back row outside of our copy of Mamud. We then play 3 copies of Raigeki. Raigeki is a definite 3-of in the build, and this card helps out a lot just to deal with your opponent's monsters so you can attack directly with all your really powerful War Rock monsters to OTK your opponent. And with your copies of Lightning Storm, this gives you 5 ways to board wipe your opponent, which is really amazing. These cards are definitely needed in this going second build. We then play 3 copies of Pot of Extravagance. Pot of Extravagance is an amazing 3-of in the deck because we don't really need the extra deck all that much in this build. So this card is really helpful at helping you draw 2 cards, but this card has to be the first card you activate out of your hand. We then play 3 copies of War Rock Dignity. War Rock Dignity is really good in this deck because this card is actually a negate because you must control a War Rock monster to activate this effect. And you get to pick which effect you get to activate. That when a monster your opponent controls activates its effect, you negate that effect, which is a quick play spell to be able to activate in response, or during the battle phase, when your opponent activates a spell or trap card or monster effect, negate that effect, which is a really cool ability to be able to use on a spell card that's a quick effect with this particular card. We then play 3 copies of War Rock Mountain. War Rock Mountain is a great field spell for this deck. It has the ability that when this card is activated, you add a War Rock monster from your deck to your hand, which is a great ability to add any War Rock card that you need from your deck to your hand. It also has the ability at the start of the battle phase, if you control no monsters or all monsters you control are warrior monsters, which they usually will be, you can special summon a War Rock monster from your hand with a different name than cards that you control, which is a great ability just to instantly get an additional monster on your side of the field. It also has the ability, if your warrior monster would be destroyed by battle, you can send this card to the graveyard instead, which is a great effect to be able to protect your War Rock monsters. We then play 3 copies of War Rock Medium. War Rock Medium is insane in this deck because this card has the ability that while your opponent controls a special summon monster and you control a level 7 or higher War Rock monster, during the main phase 1, neither player can activate the effects of monsters on the field. This deck is a battle phase heavy deck. We don't really need our monster effects during the main phase, we need them during the battle phase. So this card is amazing in the deck to be a one-sided skill drain, which is really cool. It also has the ability that during your main phase, you can set a War Rock spell or trap directly from your deck, except another copy of this card. Also, you cannot special summon monsters for the rest of the turn except warrior monsters, which is totally fine to be able to do, because this card is going to help us get to any of our War Rock spells that we need. We then play 3 copies of an extremely spicy tech card, and that's going to be 3 copies of Magnum Shield. Magnum Shield is insane in this deck. You equip it only to a warrior monster and you apply the effect depending on the battle position of the monster. If it's in attack position, it gains attack points equal to its own defense points. If it's in defense position, it gains defense equal to its own attack. Something really cool about all of your Warrock monsters is all of their attack points equal their defense points. So basically, this says double the attack or double the defense depending on which position they're in, which is really cool. If they're in defense, you double their defense. If they're in attack, double their attack, which makes it even easier to OTK your opponent. You can literally get a normal summon that's almost 4,000 attack points in this deck, which is really cool. Because, for example, if you normal summon out your copy of Mamud with 2,000 attack points to your side of the field, if you don't control a monster, all of them are warriors, equip it with this, he goes to 4,000 attack points on a normal summon off of your copy of Magnum Shield. This card is a must 3-up to OTK your opponent, and it's amazing in this build. So, that's it for the spells, guys, and the main deck. Let's get into the extra deck. We're not playing any traps because this is a going second build. So for the extra deck, guys, we're going to start off with a single copy of Gaga Cowboy, because you guys know you got a cowboy for game. Plus, this is an Earth Warrior monster, so it's a really good one-of in the extra deck. We then play a single copy of Tornado Dragon. Tornado Dragon's really good at popping spells and traps on the field. 2 copies of Baguska. Keep in mind this is an extravagance extra deck, so it's very toolbox. You don't super need the extra deck, but Baguska is really good because A, it's an Earth monster. B, it's also a copy of a skill drain when it's in defense position to slow down the game, so we can build up our field to OTK our opponent. We then play 2 copies of Utopia. Utopia is just really good in this deck. Sometimes you do get locked into warriors, so you can make this card, and then immediately throw a copy of Utopia the Lightning on top of it to have a 5,000 attack point monster on your side of the field, which is just really, really good. We then play 2 copies of AA Zeus. AA Zeus is really good in this particular build to just board wipe your opponent, and it's very easy to make in this particular deck. We then play a single copy of Access Code. Access Code does come out every so often in this deck to be able to pop cards on the field. You can play other XZ monsters if you want to, like another copy of Cowboy if you want to over the Access Code. Play a single copy of Unicorn to spin stuff. 1 copy of Phoenix to be able to pop spells and traps. 1 copy of the Furious Flame Swordsman. This card I actually consider bumping up to 2 in this extra deck because it lets all warrior monsters on the field gain 500 attack points to make your Warrock monsters even bigger. You can change out the copy of Access Code for a second copy of this if you want to. We then play a single copy of IP Masquerena just in case we want to make a copy of Unicorn during the opponent's turn to spin a card off the field to have some interaction with the opponent. So, that's it for the extra deck, guys. If you see any cards with the Link monsters that you want to change out for other XZ cards, you definitely can do that because it is very much an extravagance extra deck, so it's just toolbox to be able to play with this particular build. For example, if you want to change out a Phoenix for another copy of Tornado Dragon, you can. If you want to change out Access Code for another Cowboy, you can. And if you want to change out your IP and your Unicorn for another copy of Utopia and Utopia the Lightning, you can definitely do that, just for some options for you guys. So, that's it for this one, guys. I hope you enjoyed. This is a really fun deck to be able to play. If you guys have never played Warrock before, you should definitely give this deck a try because it's a crazy, powerful OTK deck to be able to just board wipe your opponent, especially with all these board breakers we're playing in this build. So that's going to do it for this one, guys. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit that bell in there so you can become part of the notification squad, and we'll see you guys in the next video. See you later, guys.